Welcome back to Almost Healed, the space where we're almost ready, almost perfect, but most importantly, almost healed. I'd like to welcome today's guest, Kait Davis. Kait is a serial entrepreneur, brand builder, mom, and amazing influencer who has amassed almost 750,000 followers across platforms. Kait has built multiple businesses from the ground up and has somehow blended fitness, fashion, fun, home design, motherhood, all with her rodeo culture. Her husband is a professional bull rider, and so her cowgirl aesthetic comes from a real place of authenticity and real Texas. Kait reminds us that online success isn't just about the numbers online. It's about creating freedom, impact, and a life that truly lights you up. So welcome, Kait.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited that you're here on Almost Healed. I know you have gone through quite a journey when it comes to your health and wellness, your fitness, and just like your overall brand. And I've loved watching it. I know, we haven't been friends for that long, but from when I first met you till now, I love seeing the evolution. And so you're my favorite type of guest to have on Almost Healed.
Thank you. I feel like if you're not evolving and changing or having so many different versions of yourself, which I know I have, I look back and watch my old content and I'm kind of like, who is that girl?
Yeah.
I don't even recognize myself.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes we both do this where we post old photos. We're like, who the hell is that? I love it though.
Many eras.
I love it. And so let's kind of take a step back. So for those that don't know, Kait has a son who is almost 10.
Yes, he just turned 10.
And so you were a young mom.
I was. I'm at 20.
Yeah. So you were a young mom. You got married early too. I love when people start their lives so early because I feel like now it's so much later. And so when did your fitness and health and wellness journey begin, and what did that look like for you?
I met my husband when I was 18 or 19. I don't exactly remember, but I wasn't really into fitness and wellness. I went from being a cheerleader in high school, and then that was it. That was the only fitness that I knew. I had my son at such a young age, and I just remember feeling I'm 20 years old. These are the years that I'm supposed to love my body, feel the most confident, and not feel insecure. But here I am, 20, with a baby. I'm married, and I don't want to be in a bathing suit.
Yeah.
And all my other friends that are 20 were running around and just a lot more free than me, I guess. And I'm like, I'm going to start working out. So 2018, 3 years after I had my son, that's when I first started working out.
Okay. And what did that look like?
That looked so different than what it looks now in terms of the way I ate. I didn't know anything about what to eat. It was more just, I know that if you move and work out, you'll gain muscle.
Yeah.
And in my position, that was the truth. I ate a lot of calories and never tracked my calories for years. There was a time where I did start doing that, and then that's when things really changed for me. But for the first 3 years of my fitness journey, it was just going to the gym and then leaving the gym and going to Subway and having a foot long,
That's funny.
Having a foot long, like bacon, cheese, mayonnaise, all the things. So not knowing what real fitness was, more about what I was putting on my body, just moving my body. And for a lot of people, I think that's just a great place to start.
Yeah.
Because when you try to start to do the food, the fitness, the exercise, it's overwhelming.
All at once, it's too much. You got to kind of build up to it.
I feel like you can't stick with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like mostly when everyone starts their workout journey, it's like how they look. And then they quickly figure out it also affects how you feel. Mm-hmm. And then that kind of natural progression. And so when did you get to the place of you were struggling with an eating disorder, counting calories, and fitness became hard on you and your body?
It started out, like I said, in 2018, where it was just moving my body. And I loved using weights. I loved using the treadmill, and I felt amazing. But then I realized I wasn't losing weight. I actually saw myself get bigger. I was filling out my clothes more because I was putting on muscle from eating so many calories. And I was following this girl. She was also married to a bull rider, and she was doing a fitness competition, and the year was 2019. And this was 2 years into my fitness journey, almost a full 2 years of just working out, never ever counting a calorie, never learning about macros, never learning about anything like that. So, and I noticed that she shed so much weight in 12 weeks, and it intrigued me. I was like, how'd you do that? So I slid into her DM. Her name's April, and she owns her own nutritional company now. But at the time, she was just a bodybuilder. Mm-hmm. And I saw this amazing transformation in those 12 weeks. And she was like, you need to start tracking your calories, counting your calories. Well, that's how she did it. So she gave me like a little bit of information, and I just kind of went from there with it. And COVID happened. So in January of 2020, that's when I had decided, before COVID had even happened, that I was going to start tracking my calories. And then March came, all the gyms shut down. So I was losing weight all in 2020, finally getting so motivated by tracking my calories, seeing the muscle come through from the calorie deficit that I had built for years without dieting. Because whenever you're in a muscle building phase, it's really a lot easier to do it when you're eating in a calorie surplus or calorie maintenance. You can't really, not saying you can't, because I've heard a lot about how beginners can lose fat and build muscle at the same time. But for me, I was building muscle for years by eating those Subway footlongs.
Yeah.
So I decided to track my calories, and then I started losing weight. All the gyms are shut down and feeling so discouraged because I just felt like I was going to lose all my progress. Going to the gym became a part of my life every day. It was for years before. It really was during those calorie counting days. We put a gym in our home, and I weighed every single meal that I ate. And it was kind of a really bad toxic storm because restaurants were closed. So I had no choice but to eat at home. And then it kind of unlocked this OCD nature in me where I had to track, count, measure every single item that went into my mouth, or else I wouldn't eat it. So I wouldn't eat gum because I knew I had calories. I was logging my vitamins. Like, it was intense, down to the most minute details. And I realized it had a hold on me to where I couldn't even go on vacation when the world opened up. I was a part of a wedding, and I believe it was May. We were supposed to go to Miami, and I brought tequila in a water bottle so I could weigh it out, just so I could have alcohol on the trip. And that's when people around me were like, this is not normal.
Yeah.
You know, but when you're in the thick of it, you're like, you're just a hater.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I got a lot of messages from people on Instagram because I was not only tracking, but I was documenting my day every day on Instagram. I was showing people that I was weighing my food, and people that had already been through an eating disorder would message me, and they'd be like, this is giving eating disorder. And I had never heard that term before.
Yeah.
So you're just not as dedicated as me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I look back now and I'm like, you don't know that you have an eating disorder until you look back and you're like, wow, that was a really demented way of thinking.
Yeah. And when you are dealing with anything, not just fitness and food, are you someone who is like a hyper fixates on it and is a perfectionist, or did this come out during this time?
Definitely came out during this time. I never considered myself, I've always been very like organized, type A, but it got to where I wouldn't even let my husband make dinner reservations for us because I had to see the menu beforehand.
Wow.
I had to pre-plan my meal. I had to bring my scale. And yeah, no, I brought it everywhere. We were going, it was April, so a month after lockdown, some of the restaurants were opening up a little bit more. We were going to the casino, and we had a bistro table at the casino, and it couldn't fit my scale. And I started crying right there. And that's when my husband, he was like, you have a problem. Like, you really, like, being completely honest with you, this is not normal. Like, you cannot bring, and this scale wasn't small either. It's like the size of my bag, And I plopped this big old scale, like beep, 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 beep at this fine dining restaurant. And I just decided, like, wow, I can't live like this. So I reached back out to, her name's April, Dirt Eater, the nutritionist. And I was like, look, how did you get out of this when you were doing your fitness competition? How did you stop tracking your calories? And she was like, it's hard, and it's something that you're going to have to train yourself to get out of it, and slowly upping my calories and just starting to trust myself. I think I didn't really trust myself that I wouldn't revert back to my old ways and gain the weight back.
What toll did that have on you mentally?
Bad, because if you are a control freak, or if you're someone that is used to having control over everything, and then I really felt out of control when I would go to a restaurant or I would go on vacation, and I loved to go to the beach and on vacation, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it and have fun. It's like I was just there, and if I couldn't weigh my food, then I wasn't going to enjoy the day, which is really sad. And
so sad.
I realize now, and I've actually put out like a couple statements now on my Instagram, because that's, 5 years ago. And I'm like, if you ever saw me doing that and you started doing that, I'm sorry, because I'm sure people did develop some sort of toxic habits just by watching me, but I didn't know what I was doing was wrong.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you healed that, and that you've come this far, because when you're in a place like that, it's so hard. Like, you kind of have blinders on.
You do.
And so what kind of advice would you give to someone who maybe is listening to this and saying, wow, I actually really could see how what I'm doing is similar to what she was doing and it might be a problem. Where can they start?
For me, I saw someone post something about how your body is so smart and it actually takes a lot of mindless days and weeks in eating to gain a lot of weight. Like our body doesn't, as a human, it doesn't really want to gain or lose weight. It wants to stay as is, especially if you're in a healthy weight. So just to trust myself a little bit more, trust yourself a little bit more, and know that you're not going to gain 10 pounds from not tracking your calories. Like for me, at least, I have maintained working out 5 days a week. That never changed even before I started tracking calories. And nothing really changed. The only thing I gained was my freedom.
Yeah. And so it was a slow kind of like talk with yourself every day, every meal. And that's kind of how you got out of it.
Cold turkey for me. I was
Really?
like, I got to throw this scale away.
And so you just
Threw
stopped.
it away. I just threw it away. And I'm like, you know what? What do I have to lose? It was a big part of my body was kind of shutting down. Not just was I mentally toxic, but physically. I had a lot of health issues that spiraled from not having a period, from being so lean. Like I got down to being like 113 or 17 pounds, and I'm 5'6". So, and I was ripped to shreds. And I look back and I watch those videos and I'm like, oh my God, that is not healthy, But at the time, just didn't think anything of it. So I cold turkey quit.
How has your approach to food and overall fitness shifted since 2019, Kait?
2019, 2020, and even into 2021, if it was low calorie, I would eat it.
Yeah.
But you realize whenever you learn a lot about whole foods and eating real food, they have calories. I mean, it literally stands for energy. Calories are energy. It's a measure of energy. So if you're eating 0 calorie syrups and 0 calorie pastas or whatever,
so tired.
You're really running on fumes, know? And the only like calorie, real energy I was getting was from protein, because I normally ate, steak, chicken, all the things. But I just decided that I had to start eating whole foods and I wouldn't be fighting my body as much anymore, because when you're properly fueling yourself, you aren't hungry. I just kept thinking, wow, I'm going to stay hungry like this forever. I would go to bed hungry and I would tell myself, you just have to be stronger. Don't be weak.
Wow. And do you still maybe have any kind of hard days where you even kind of revert like that, or it's gone? That habit is dead and gone?
No, I mean, for the first couple years, yes. Like there would be like, do you really need this gum? When I'd want to chew a piece of gum, which is so insane to think you can't even have a piece of chewing gum when you're at the ballpark watching your kid play baseball. Like that was the way I was thinking. No, I don't think like that at all anymore, because I know now, without tracking my calories, just moving my body and being intentional about what I put in my body, I have not gone back to the way when I was overweight in 2018. I was 175 pounds at my heaviest, which some people are that weight. And I'm not saying that number is a bad weight, but for me, I wasn't healthy. I wasn't eating right. It was eating out all the time, Subway, McDonald's, all the things.
Yeah. Yeah. And so walk me through now where you're at. Fitness, what does that look like every week? What's a balanced day of eating look like? I want to hear what your habits are right now.
When I was speaking with the same nutritionist that helped me kind of get out of this whole issue, she kept telling me that if I just focused on eating whole foods, I would feel more full and I wouldn't feel the need to, I wasn't a binge eater per se, but I always wanted sweets.
Yeah.
Like I just felt, I also loved to watch cooking shows because it, like watching them eat satisfied me.
So, like that's why mukbanging is so popular.
Absolutely. I was seeing my feed now. I'm like, pass. Like I don't even want to look at it because it just makes me sick. You know? But that gave me comfort, things like that. So I forgot your question.
About what a day-to-day looks like for balanced eating.
Now, so when she taught me about eating whole foods, I just started incorporating no more low-calorie syrups. I was going to get 100% maple syrup. No more mindless, empty, 0-calorie foods. And that shifted everything for me. I no longer had a body that was screaming at me. My period came back. My hair was thicker than ever. So my body like rewarded me. And that was rewarding, seeing my hair change, seeing my body change, my skin change. And just realizing that the way I was living was, I mean, for a lack of better words, it was killing me.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think a lot of times on social media, especially in the fitness space, it can be a slippery slope with people sharing how good they look, but everyone knowing like you don't look like that unless you're in a real strong calorie deficit / not eating. And so I love when I see people who just look like how their natural body's supposed to look and healthy, and they work out and they eat intuitively and they eat whole foods, because that's how everybody should be.
Right. And I think fighting nature and fighting how your body is supposed to or designed to look.
Yeah.
That was a big key for me. I always told myself, like, I'm not supposed to look like that.
Yeah.
It's okay if some people are, but it's not what I'm supposed to look
Totally. Totally. I mean, for me at that time in 2020, I was doing the opposite, where I was in like such a calorie surplus because I wanted to be thick. I wanted to have these huge legs and muscular glutes. And I was forcing myself by 7 a.m. to have 2 egg white chicken girls from Chick-fil-A, 2 of them every morning, no matter what. That would be like my pre-breakfast. Like I was force feeding myself calories so I could look a certain way. And I got to a point where my body was screaming at me, being like, I don't want to be 195 pounds.
Right.
Like we like to be at 150, 160. That's when you're happiest. You're supposed to be lean. You're supposed to not have all this muscle on you. And I took it overboard. And I think it's so easy when you're in it to become obsessed with whatever your goal is aesthetically with fitness. When really the root of it is like, you want to wake up every day and you want to feel good. You want to live long for your kids, and you want them to develop healthy habits as well. And so I think that it's nice to see when people make their circle back. So
it's kind of a pendulum. Whereas I was really, really far over here eating out every meal, the Chick-fil-A, the Subway, every meal, like maybe cooked 1 meal a week, to where the pendulum, I would never go out to eat.
Yeah.
So now it's in the middle, and I finally have a good balance, but it wasn't easy and it took years.
Yeah. Yeah. And you recently shared on your social media that you dealt with a little bit of an endometriosis issue.
Yep.
I think endometriosis it's not well known enough in the medical world. A lot of people don't talk about it because every case looks so different. But how has that shifted your approach to your internal wellness?
Every case does look really different. And I've always been a little bit hesitant, or I tiptoe around talking about it because it's a chronic illness. And if you get online and you say, well, just take supplements and just don't eat gluten. That's triggering to people that it won't cure their endometriosis. And so that's why I try to be really cautious about saying that. But I have to say, I had a surgery to remove the endometriosis. And even before that surgery, I was already on my gluten-free, dairy-free, whole foods journey. And I think that's been pivotal for me in my journey in staying healthy or staying without symptoms for endometriosis. So I found out I had it by really just going to do the Prenuvo scan.
Yeah.
I saw it.
That's
all
amazing.
over. Yeah, it's insane. Like
and so you had a mass on your ovary?
Inside my ovary.
Wow.
It's called an intra-ovarian. So there are different, could be located in different spots. But the way my doctor told me, she was like, you actually have one inside your ovary. So my hormones were out of whack, and I just felt like they were. That's why I did the Prenuvo scan. I didn't think I'd find anything on it. To be completely honest, I just thought like I'm, 29 at the time I did it.
Yeah.
I think everything's going to be fine. And it came back, and I was honestly relieved to see that all I had was that. Like I had convinced myself I was going to have a brain tumor.
Yeah.
Like waiting for the results to come back.
I know.
And all the horror stories that you see on TikTok. But for me, it was the start of my health and wellness journey, was just taking control and not letting the health anxiety scare me. Whenever I took control of it, I actually felt more free because I didn't have to wonder if there was something wrong. So there was. I got the results back to my phone. It comes straight to your app. And I opened it up. I'm like, all I have is an mass inside my ovary. So then you schedule this call with the Prenuvo physician, and they go over everything. And then that's the only thing that they really honed in on. And I was like, this is no problem, right? The lady was like, no, you need to go get this checked out immediately with your OB/GYN. I was like,
that's scary.
Damn. I was like scared, So I go and I meet with an OB/GYN, and I didn't even really have one here because I don't want any more kids, and my husband's fixed. And only time I go is just for like a routine checkup, not to check on my ovaries or anything. I've never even had an ultrasound since I had my son. So I go and I meet with them, and he does an ultrasound, and he tells me that he doesn't know what it is, but he ran some blood work and referred me to go to someone that was a specialist in endometriosis, which I learned now is a blessing because some OB/GYNs will just try to do an ablation on it. And I believe that's when they just drain it, and it doesn't actually take out the cyst wall, and it can grow back. So I'm very thankful that he referred me to an endometriosis expert. So I went to one here in Dallas, and I had an ultrasound, a fancy ultrasound, on Monday, and then she calls me and she was like, we don't exactly know what it is. It looks like an endometrioma, but let's get it removed because since the Prenuvo scan until July, it had grown to be the size of a baseball.
Oh, wow.
So the way she explained it to me, your ovaries are like two walnuts that kind of float. And then my left ovary was stretched to be the size of a baseball. So when that was happening, she said it could be the reason that my hormones are off. Most likely, she couldn't say for sure. But I wasn't ovulating, which again wasn't a worry for me, but I could just tell that
something was off. Yeah. I want to go back to what you were talking about, like around control and health anxiety, because that's something that I have and I've really worked on because it's a part of like OCD is health anxiety. And I did a lot of treatment to work on it. And sometimes it can go one or two ways. When you do the Aura Ring, the Function Health, the Prenuvo, all this amazing data that science now has that we can do, it's great. Like it's awesome and I love it. But how much data is too much data? And like, what do I need to know versus what maybe I shouldn't know? Like, do I want to know that in 50 years I'm going to get cancer no matter what I do?
Right.
Probably not, because it would just put me in a bad place, right? But if there was something that I could do to prevent some type of disease or a really difficult surgery versus a small procedure, sign me up. How did you balance all that information with possibly getting health anxiety and obsessing over the data?
I did obsess. I found myself extracting my ancestry DNA data and uploading it into ChatGPT to tell me what my genetic predispositions were.
So I'm like, that's a good idea.
Yeah. See, not to give anybody ideas, but I remember like uploading a 15-mile long DNA sheet of every single chromosome or whatever I have. And I'm like, please tell me all the genetic cancers that I'm predisposed to.
It did, and it
like,
told you?
It does.
What?
It'll tell you because you have this, because you have that. And then I was like, stop. I have to just stop doing this. This is ridiculous. Like you said, all this overwhelming amount of data that we have now at our fingertips, it can be debilitating because then I'm like, I'm in my mind, I found myself like planning to have that because I had this that links me to diabetes. Like, you know, just it was too much. Yeah. And unless there is a reason, like for me, I felt like my hormones were awry and that's why I went down that path. It can be really great, but it can also be debilitating.
Yeah. So you think if you focus on solving the problem at hand and don't stray too far away into like no man's land where it's obsession, you think it's positive.
I do. And I also think there's this huge, I love functional medicine so much, but I met with so many doctors that I almost felt like it was like a cattle call.
Yeah.
And I just felt like I've spent all this money and they're maybe seeing 50 people a day on Zoom. They don't really know me. They didn't really, I would have a call with the same person a week later and they'd be like, what was wrong with you again? Like, you know, it didn't.
Yeah, they didn't really take the time.
No. And I had spent so much money and I'm like, you know what? I am taking control now. And that's what led me to the Prenuvo.
Yeah. And so with the endometriosis, you had no symptoms at all or nothing?
I've always had a hard menstrual cycle, but I just accredited that to being a female. And I just thought everybody did. You know, I had to take a Midol sometimes and I thought it was normal. Use a heating pad. Come to find out, you shouldn't have period pain. And I've learned all this now. But that was like the main symptom that I had. I just felt inflamed. And if you've ever felt that way, then you know what it is.
Yeah.
I just felt like things were off. And I'm really in tune with my body. Always been that way. And sure enough, yeah, my hormones were what I thought was wrong. And it was wrong.
Women's hormones also, like I did 2 episodes on this already, are so, it's like if you look at one of those like movies where they're in like a switchboard room and there's like 50 million levers, buttons, controls. That's like us at any given day where like a man is just a light switch.
Literally. It's like one thing.
And it's really hard when you know something is off and you don't know what or how to deal with it. And you're right. It costs thousands of dollars, a million appointments that you have to do, all this different testing. And it's really difficult to get an answer. I'm lucky enough to have found what that answer was for my specific hormone issue. And it sounds like you were too. But it's like, I kind of want to give the women that are listening some peace of mind when it comes to just like finding peace in the unknown around this stuff on their journey versus giving them answers to what they might be dealing with, because I feel like that's just really too hard to prescribe because everyone's body is so different.
But you want an answer so bad, and I fell in that hopelessness of like, nobody knows what's wrong with me.
Yeah.
And then that's when my husband was like, well, you're meeting with people over Zoom.
Yeah.
You know, he was like, you should maybe go get like a full scan, you know, like just to see. And he was right. Meeting with someone over Zoom can be so helpful to people, but if you don't know what's wrong with you and they can't see inside of you,
how can they know?
How can they know? And so I felt actually more hopeless after meeting with all these people, and my situation wasn't getting better.
Yeah.
And so I signed up for Function Health, which I actually really love.
I love it.
I do too. I think it's amazing. And it showed me that my hormones were off.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what made me want to dig a little deeper.
Yeah. I also think Function Health, all these things are great for people who don't have insurance too, because I know there's people who don't have insurance, and they can now access this stuff for so much cheaper than when you have insurance and they bill it, where it'd be like $3,000 of blood work. You only pay $500, you know,
a year, and you get two.
Yeah, you get two.
And I added on like every test, which was expensive, but again, going back to maybe too much data.
Yeah.
I was like, what do I even do with all this data?
It's funny.
You know, so
frame it in your office.
Yeah. My husband would be like, he thinks I'm like a doctor now. He's like, yes, I know what that means. No, I learned a lot on my health journey.
That's funny. And, you know, a reason why I love following you, and I think a lot of people love following you, is because you are so open. You're just like an open book. You post your real day to day. I love how consistent you are too. It's like, I know when I watch your story, I'm going to see these protein pancakes. I'm going to see this like at home workout. I'm going to see your hair. Yeah. So I love that you're consistent, because it's part of your brand. It's part of who you are. You've built an insanely large following. What would you accredit most of that to?
So how I even got started on Instagram or content creation was 2014. Me and my husband met at Buffalo Wild Wings, and
I love that story.
This like so bizarre. People are like, where did you meet him? They think I was like a buckle bunny, you know?
Yeah.
Like, marry me, like on my shirt. No. So I'd never been to a rodeo before in my life, and I met him at Buffalo Wild Wings, and he was just this rodeo guy. So I was starting to post my outfits on Instagram, like what I would wear to the rodeos, and it was so bizarre to the people that are in the Western culture to have a woman or a girlfriend, because I was a little girl at the time, 18, so young, that wasn't privy to the Western world. There just was not many of me. And I kind of stood out like a sore thumb already because of the way I dressed, but because I didn't really know like what a rigging bag was or what rosin was.
I don't know what any of that is.
Just learned. Yeah. So, you know, I didn't really even understand what they were talking about half the time. So, yeah, so I just started posting my outfits, and that was 2014. Had my son in 2015, posted about that, and then I really, really, really grew my page during, unfortunately, that eating disorder day, because there were so many people during COVID who were gaining weight and maybe feeling more helpless than ever because they wanted to lose weight and they weren't motivated. It was kind of the opposite of me, whereas I felt like I couldn't control anything going on in the world. The only thing I could control was my body and what I was eating.
Yeah.
And some people took a different approach where they maybe didn't work out and they kind of felt helpless in a different way.
Yeah. And, you know, I feel like you have a really interactive following too. Like I see some of the things people message you. They're like always messaging you all day.
It's pretty nice though, because it's good and bad.
Yeah.
You know, there could be bad stuff, but
yeah,
it's great because it is a very community feel.
Yeah.
People remember every one of my eras.
I like that.
I remember your Fashion Nova era. Someone messaged me that the other day. I'm like, me too.
I know. But what pressure comes with that for you to, you know, you want to show up for your people,
right?
And you want to be authentic, but you want to protect yourself too. How do you balance that?
I'm still learning how to balance that. I think something that I've learned along the way is it doesn't matter how much you give, they're going to want more. And and when I say they, I just mean people are used to me being really honest and open about surgeries or problems or issues or whatever it may be. And so when you stop, they automatically revert to, are you okay? Like I get messages like that a lot lately because I don't post as much. And then I think there was just this shift in who I was as a person, seeing I don't want my son to have his face blasted all over the internet. I don't want every part of my life to be so public, and not because I didn't gain such a wonderful thing from that. But because I realized it does take a toll on, I feel like I do have to look a certain way. I feel like I do have to act a certain way. And I was trying to fit into a box and couldn't evolve. Even though I was shifting who I was, I just felt like I had to keep
up with the image.
Yeah, I mean, that's anybody that does social media. I think that you feel the pressures of wanting to be what you've always been, you know? And even with the gaining weight after getting my leanest and having an eating disorder, that was tough. And people would be like, you're looking so healthy. And even though it was a compliment, it was like, ooh, I'm getting fat, you know, like, and
you
that's
look all healthy. Yeah.
No, people like, you look better. Like, and they're doing it to be complimentary and being very nice. But when you have an eating disorder or you're struggling with it and you're trying to gain weight because you know you need to for your body, it's hard to hear.
Yeah. It's hard when people just comment on your body
at
all, or your looks at all. But one thing people do always compliment you on is your hair.
Yeah.
And I know recently you Glimmer, which you're a part of their brand. I don't know in what capacity, but they just launched in a ton of Targets. So tell us about that.
Yes. So I actually sold a percentage of my lash company that I started in 2016.
Okay.
And for a really small story of that is it really popped off in 2020 during COVID because people couldn't get their lash extensions done.
Yeah.
So my business went from like 300 to 500 subscribers a month to almost 3,000.
Wow.
Just in the month of April. I remember it was my birthday. So I had like a huge birthday sale and I was posting on TikTok and then it just exploded. So this company found me and they were seeing my TikToks and they're like, hey, we would love to buy a percentage of your brand. And they do DTC, which is direct to consumer marketing. They put your product in front of people online that are shopping. It has to be like a physical product. They had done tons of other products that they had just completely sold out of and did amazing. So I flew out to LA and every 4 months I would have to do a photo shoot for new ad contents for B-roll and all that. I learned all these terms I didn't know before. And they had all their brands there at this one studio in LA. It was a huge studio. And I see Glimmer and I had no idea what it was. And I was just doing a 24-hour trip. So I just brought a carry-on. But I wanted to wash my hair because the photo shoot, I was touching my hair so much.
Yeah.
And it just looked so greasy. And I was like, what is that? And they're like, here, you can take a bottle of it home. You know, it's one of our brands that we also help market. And I was like, okay, amazing. So I took it back to the hotel and I had my little Louis Vuitton luggage that I carried on. And the reason I say that is because I loved the mask so much that night that I checked this expensive piece of carry-on luggage that I shouldn't have checked, you know? I'm like, I really don't want to throw this mask away. I couldn't have brought it home. So I just started using it and not really thinking anything of it. I was on my health journey trying to get out of the tracking the calories, but still in the thick of it, to be honest. I was still struggling with it. And my hair was the one thing that really struggled during that phase of extreme calorie restriction for so long. And I'd never had great hair. I'd always had hair extensions, even before I lost weight, just always had hair extensions. And decided to just use this product. Like, it had amazing ingredients. The package had all these claims. And so I just wanted to try it. So I actually reached out to Glimmer, the people that owned it, and I was like, this is freaking amazing. Like, what is going on with this product? And they're like, oh, you know, we've been in business for a while and we've just never really hit it off, but we love our product. We love what we've created. And I was like, okay, I will keep posting about this if you just keep sending me this. Like, that was the deal. That was it. And that's exactly what they did. And that was 2022. I just became obsessed with it. My hair started getting thicker. I always struggled with split ends as well. My hair just like thickened up. To a lot of people, it felt like overnight, but to me, it was a journey. You know, there was many days where I cried because I had no hair after I got my extensions out.
Yeah.
And I started just using it religiously.
I want to try it.
It's amazing. I love it. It's great for curly hair.
Oh, really? I love that. But I feel like sometimes I'm really weary about things for my hair. Obviously, I'm so loyal to like my brand that I've used since I was 15, We Dad, because they're the best in the curly hair game. But every now and then there's a product that somehow works on all different hair types and textures that really, really works. So I'm going to try it and I'll report back to you. But so now y'all are in Target.
We are, yeah.
And I saw your face is in Target everywhere.
My face is in Target. They called me.
And I want to go see.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty insane. It's actually kind of, I don't know, surreal because I got so much hate from, and the word would be hate because people were accusing me of having hair extensions in my like DMs and emails all the time. They're like,
people are so mean.
They're so crazy, but I get it because it was kind of like to them overnight. And it was just almost like a haha moment, you know, like Target found us and they wanted us in the store. And that's just the beginning of like what all I've learned that Glimmer will be soon.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a domino effect of when one store sees you, another store wants you in their store. So it's actually something else that I learned before I came here was we are going to actually be in 800 stores by February 2026.
Wow, that's amazing.
So we've done so good during these first couple weeks of launch in Target that they said we were the #1 in hair care product since we've launched online and in store sales.
I bet you the founder is so happy that
They
met
are,
you.
right? Yeah. I mean, they didn't have any like the funds to give me to talk about it, but that's not what my page was about. I didn't actually start making money until 2021, 2022 on Instagram. So I was doing it just grassroots, like doing it for fun, making commission off links and stuff, but never like getting paid from a brand to promote. And they didn't pay me for years. The first year that they gave me a check was 2024.
And I think a lot of times now, influencers, especially ones who already have big followings like you, there's something so like less authentic when it's only posts when it's paid.
Yeah.
And like, I love when people are just real.
Right.
And yeah, I paid $16 for this and I use it every day and I love it. And then eventually, if you're a smart enough influencer, you can maybe work with the brand. But I really trust people who are out there giving the truth. So I love that you do that.
I think that this day and age, like people get really quick overnight, like with TikTok, people can become super well known by one TikTok. Whereas when I started in 2014, it was you're showing up every day, you're talking on Instagram, and people are not finding you from the Explore. They're not finding you from a For You page. You actually have to post captivating content that gets shared or liked enough that people want to follow you, or word of mouth. Like people would message me and say, I got all my friends following you because you've helped us so much with sticking to our workout program. So I think building a community is not as easy. It's easier now than what it was then because you can just post a viral TikTok and people are like, I want to follow her.
Yeah, but I almost feel like the community is stronger from when it was then versus now.
As far as converting and doing great with a brand, I completely agree.
Yeah.
And saying no a lot. I mean, I say no a lot. You have to say no a lot. I have these ads that I do with Glimmer. They whitelist through my page, and with Nutrafol, I work with both of them because I started using Glimmer first and I really felt like my hair thickened up, but it wasn't growing. It was just kind of like stuck at this like little bit above my shoulder length. And so I started Nutrafol and my hair started growing like a weed.
I know, me too. But I had to stop because I didn't want to get my hair done every 3 months.
That part was hard, but I stopped dyeing my hair. So it worked out really good, Good. And then my leg hairs, I had to get those lasered because Nutrafol.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so true. That's
and I was
funny.
like getting a mustache from Nutrafol.
Yeah. I know.
But my hair is thick. So
no, it really works though. I mean, it really does. I paid for Nutrafol for a year and a half and used it, and my hair grew so fast, but I can't, now I live in California. I can't fly to New York every 3 months for my hair.
Yeah. It's a good problem to have.
That's too much.
It is. But the thing about Nutrafol is, I know this is like, maybe you should be sponsored by Nutrafol in this whole podcast here, but it really works. It targets a lot of issues like hormones. And that has been a problem for me before. Whenever my hair was shedding and I had lost a lot of weight, lost my period, I also had an embedded IUD. So it's always been a hormonal aspect to me when it came to my hair. And I think once I fixed that maybe my hair was always going to be like this without those products.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. So as we kind of close out the episode, I wanted to ask you about what your wellness philosophy is now and the things you cannot live without today.
Something I can't live without, my Berkey, my water filter.
Oh, we have one of those.
They're the best. I love mine so much. I'm sure there's a better one out there, but I love my Berkey.
Yeah.
So now just learning, since I have this whole hormone struggle that I've gone through, so many things are fueling excess estrogen in your body, which endometriosis can be excess estrogen, that's something that a lot of people with endometriosis see in their hormonal pattern. And just ridding all those things out of my body and starting with that Berkey. I won't even drink water unless it's filtered, trying not to get too crazy with it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, can I bring this to Cabo? I was like,
do you just put yours on the counter?
No,
the only thing I don't like is that it's not cold.
It's not cold, but it's actually not good for your gut when you have cold water. It's better at room temp.
I know. It's what my boyfriend always says because he's a room temp guy, but I like it when it's like I'm drinking from the Arctic Ocean.
Me too. But I completely cut that out, but I was the same as you.
Yeah.
And cut out Diet Coke. That was really tough for me.
That's hard.
That's hard. Zevia's pretty good.
100%?
I'll go.
What about Olipop?
I like Olipop as well, but to me, that's still has a couple things that don't fit in for every day.
Oh, really?
I mean, like a couple things that just don't make sense for me to drink every day. Whereas during my 0-calorie ED era, I was drinking 3-4 Diet Cokes a day because they were 0 calories.
What about Poppy? Do you like Olipop or Poppy better?
I like both. I like a lot of the flavors.
I like the cream
Olipop.
soda.
Yeah, those are really good. There's like a banana cream by Olipop, which I love, but Poppy I think has a more, in my opinion, tastes more like diet soda. I don't know, it tastes more authentic to me, but I try not to buy any of it in my home.
Okay, so Berkey.
Berkey water, that's a big one for me. Obviously, all my vitamins. Now I'm a big supplement girl, especially because I was diagnosed with endometriosis. Supplements have definitely helped me.
And you did your function health, so you know what supplements
What
you
I
need.
And just working with an in-person functional medicine doctor. I found one in Dallas, and that to me has been a game changer. But that's not something I use every day. But the Berkey, to me, I wake up. I love my lymphatic shaker. I use that every day.
What is that?
That's where you get on that one of those little like surfboard looking things and you shake.
Yeah.
That's really great. My mom is really big into like the big six, so she taught me how to do lymphatic massage at home. Little things add up. Like doing little things as I get older that are gonna help me evolve, continue into an even better version of myself next year is what I'm about.
What treatments are you liking right now?
Treatments, like health treatments. I love
Like-
a glutathione IV.
Oh, really?
That's your body's main antioxidant. So I learned
I take
a
the
lot about that.
Symbiotica packet.
I do too. I like those as well. I just actually got those. And they're Shilajit, I believe that's how you say it.
Yeah, that black stuff?
Yeah,
Okay,
that
I
as
haven't
well.
gone down that path.
Chocolate. It's pretty good.
What is it?
I actually don't know. It's like a detox thing, I think. I don't know. If you tell me to buy it, I'll probably buy it.
I'll be someone. Yeah, every time I see anyone and like I trust them or I like them or I know them and they post it, I'm like, why not?
Why not? You know,
I'll try
that's
it.
me. I'm the most influenceable influencer.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I've ever bought anything that I didn't like. So that's good.
We're big consumers. I was just talking to someone yesterday that I have never regretted a purchase. I've only regretted my non-purchases.
Same. And that's actually not my problem because I buy them all.
Yeah. So
Pretty bad.
that's funny. Well, Kait, thank you so much for coming on Almost Healed.
Thank you for
Where
having
can people find you?
At Kait.Davis, Kait Davis.
Amazing. Well, thank you guys so much. See you next week.
Bye.